I wonder what those little cartoon birds see when they get knocked unconscious.
Oh lol, the cartoon birds. So I've been using the Huawei Mate 20 for about 2 weeks now, and I've actually gotten quite used to it. If you don't already know what the Huawei Mate 20 is, it's the latest flagship from Huawei's Mate lineup of smartphones. It was launched last week. So there's three models in the lineup. There's the Huawei Mate 20, the Mate 20 Pro, the Mate 20X, and there's the Porsche design Huawei Mate 20, which is essentially a Mate 20 Pro with genuine leather and Porsche branding, that kind of stuff. So I have gotten my hands, like I said, on the Mate 20, and I've been using it. So what's good about this phone? What's bad about it? What do I like? What don't I like? Well, that's what I'm here to talk to you guys about. So I've been using this phone for a while, and I've gotten quite attached to it, let's say, because for one thing, it's extremely snappy. That's probably because of the Kirin 980 processor. And when I say snappy, I mean like my apps load like super fast. I'm talking Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pokemon Go, camera, anything. And that's also the flash storage on this. If I'm not mistaken, it uses UFS 2.1, if I'm not mistaken, which means that your read-write speeds on your phone storage are really fast. So that could also help in terms of apps loading and all that kind of stuff. So now another feature I like about the Mate 20 is the camera. Now it's not as powerful as the Mate 20 Pro that has a 40 megapixel sensor and all that, but it still gets the job done because it uses the same technology. So you have a wide angle, ultra wide and a telephoto lens. Again, not as powerful as the Mate 20 Pro, which is more expensive, but still, like I said, gets the job done. The AI mode of the camera is also what I really like. Now, the Huawei has paid a lot of attention to detail with the AI in this camera. Again, thanks to the NPU, the dual NPU technology and the architecture of the Kirin 980 itself. In case you don't know what AI mode is, we've seen it on phones like the Huawei Nova 3, the P20 Pro and phones like that. So essentially what it does is it detects the area that you say you're focusing on, maybe on the sky. It will detect that, okay, this is the sky, and then adjust accordingly. The Mate 20 and the Mate 20 Pro takes a step further where it has an actual mode that detects food. Now we know that food mode is in most cameras, but can your camera actually detect an orange, say it's an orange, give you the weight of the orange and the calories of the orange? Now that is something that you can't do. This can actually do that. It's not maybe a feature you'll use every day, but if you want, show off, I don't know, the latest in AI, where you can, and especially if you're a health conscious person. For example, say if you're a person who wants to regulate the amount of calories that they take in per day. Stuff like now this mode on the camera can actually help you with that. And speaking of health, now the Mate 20, the Mate 20 Pro are powered by Android 9.0 Pie. So one key feature that Google released was the digital well-being feature. Now this, we've spoken about this earlier in a few articles and a video as well. It gives you a specific amount of period of time where you can use your smartphone. Like say you've been using your phone for 6 hours straight, right? So at the end of the 6th hour, the phone will give you a notification saying, look, you've been on your phone, you've been looking at your screen for 6 hours, take a break. If you're going to sleep, say around 10, 11 o'clock in the night, the screen will actually fade to grayscale or black and white, so you may not want to look at, you'd not want to look at your screen if it's black and white, right? So essentially what they're doing is they make it black and white so that you would put your phone to a side and get some rest. It's not the digital well-being by Google itself, but a more Huawei approach. So same concept, different name, but again it gets the job done. The AI also goes for battery, where it shows you speaking of the battery. Now this is the battery life on this is amazing. It's a 4000 mAh battery on the Mate 20. Mate 20 Pro is a 4200 mAh battery. You'd think that with a battery like this you would be able to last about a day and a half, right? You actually can. Know. I've been using this phone at a stretch for I guess 16 hours at a stretch. That is with me gaming, going on Facebook, social media, all that stuff. And I still have about 20% left, right? Then you're thinking of charging and you'll be like, oh no, it's going to take ages to charge this battery because it's large. But because of Huawei Supercharge, it actually gets the job done really fast. So for example, today in the morning when I woke up, my battery was at like 20% on the phone. I plugged in my charger, went back to sleep. I slept for like maybe another 45 minutes. I got up and the phone was fully charged. That's a legit 20 to 100% charge in just 45 minutes. One thing to note though, the charger and the cable use a higher amperage than normal, so we wouldn't recommend plugging any other devices like other phones or devices to charge, because they might get damaged because of the high amperage, because essentially the charger and the cable are made for this phone only. So unless you have a phone that supports these amperages and voltages at that speed, we wouldn't recommend it lest you damage your device. So note on that. Now talking more about the camera, so most of the features that the Mate 20 has are features that you would see in most Huawei flagship and mid-range phones. For example, the panorama, monochrome, HDR photos that like gives you the ability to highlight dark areas of photos where you can like bring out the depths of stuff. There's a good food mode, which essentially means you can take photos of your food if you are so inclined, but again that's up to you. The 3D panorama mode is actually something that I found really interesting and cool. So essentially what you can do is you can take a photo. You can essentially go around an object or maybe from whatever angle, and then using the AI of the phone, which is again the Kirin 980 and the dual NPU, which is super fast when it does that, it essentially creates a controllable model sort of in the photo. So it will be a JPEG image, it will be an image that you can maneuver by moving your finger. Now uploading this on Facebook is a bit tricky because it needs an app called Fuse. So essentially once you take the photo and share it on Facebook, you will be asked to install an app called Fuse, or it might use its own API on Facebook, so you can upload it through that, and then it will show that you shared a link on Facebook. So now that's about photography. Now in the video point, there's another really cool feature called AI color. So essentially what it does is when you look at say a scene and you want to record it, it will put everything in monochrome except for what you're focusing on. So say you're focusing on maybe a person, right? So the person will be in full color, and the background image, so say the person you're photographing is behind say a building. So the building will be in black and white, the person will be in color, so that you can record the entire thing and it happens in real time. There is no processing later on where you record it in color first and then it detects the person and then cuts that out and then blocks it into black and white. No, it all happens in real time and you can see it on screen as it happens. So now the biggest question that you've all been waiting to ask: how much is the phone and who is it for? Well, the Huawei Mate 20 retails for about 124,900. The Mate 20 Pro is about 175,000. Now these are not cheap phones, these are essentially flagship phones, but begs the question, is it really worth it? Well, that depends on what you're doing. For example, if you're a professional photographer who carries along all his equipment around and you suddenly find yourself without your camera, or like your camera is low on battery and you want to quickly snap some photos, you can probably use the camera on this. It won't be as good as a DSLR, but I mean, spur of the moment photography with AI and intelligent scene recognition and stuff like that, you can get the job done. And again, like say you want to quickly shoot a video and you want to add an extra spin on it, you can use the AI in this, and like I said, for the black and white AI mode, you can do something like that. So it's not as good as a DSLR, it probably won't be as good as a DSLR, but if you're in a tight fit and you don't have a camera with you, or say you're going on a hike somewhere and you don't want to bring your camera along but you want some good photography, you can take the Mate 20 to the Mate 20 Pro. Say you're a person who's on the cutting edge, who wants the best of the best in terms of processing power and storage and RAM. Again, you can get the Huawei Mate 20 to the Mate 20 Pro. I mean, in terms of benchmarks, it does come close to beating the current market, which is Snapdragon 845. Actually it beats the Snapdragon 845. So in wrapping up, the Huawei Mate 20 is a decent flagship. I'm not saying it's the best flagship because clearly the Mate 20 Pro is the better of the two. For example, the Mate 20 Pro has an in-display fingerprint sensor, which I would like to have had on this, but rather I'm stuck with the standard thing at the back of the phone fingerprint sensor. Also, in terms of the display, the Mate 20 comes with a IPS LCD, whereas the Mate 20 Pro comes with AMOLED. So obviously the colors on that will be better, and because it's AMOLED, you also have better battery performance. Speaking of battery performance though, the 4000 mAh battery does really well. It's also backed by fast charging, which means again I can go for lunch and come back and my phone will be fully charged. It also has a 3.5mm jack, which I'm thankful for because the Mate 20 Pro has a USB connector. In terms of cameras, again, the AI implementation on both phones is really good. But then again, the lower megapixel count on the Mate 20 versus the Mate 20 Pro kind of sets me off, whereas I could have wanted the Mate 20 Pro camera on the Mate 20, but then that won't make sense because obviously there would be no reason for the Mate 20 Pro. So in conclusion, the Mate 20 has its pros and cons. If you're looking for a good a flagship phone that has the latest processor, good lots of RAM, fast charging, a good camera, all that, you can go for the Mate 20. So if you would like us to review any other features of the Mate 20 or the Mate 20 Pro, do let us know and we'll see what we can do. Until then, see you guys later.